Hello. So, I have spent over a decade working in a large manufacturing environment. During that time, I've learned a lot about leadership, mostly by seeing what leadership shouldn't be like. When I first started, I had certain expectations about how things would work. I believed the system would support the people working inside it. But once I was actually on the floor, I started noticing something different. The culture wasn't really about solving problems. A lot of time, it felt like the focus was on finding someone to blame instead of figuring out what was the actual cause of the issue. Sometimes leaders would stand right behind workers, watching every move, waiting for mistakes, instead of stepping back and asking what was slowing the system down. The pressure was placed on the person closest to the problem. And when you build a culture around blame instead of problem solving, you stop trusting leadership. The environment started making me think about leadership in a completely different way. I started asking myself a simple question: if I were in charge, would I lead like this? The answer was no. So instead of staying stuck in that mindset, I started focusing on learning everything I could about how the system actually worked. I moved around to different roles whenever I had the chance. I spent time leading small teams. Then I moved to logistics, learning how materials moved through the plant and how everything had to arrive just when it was needed. After I went into machining and started learning how CNC machines worked, how the axes move, how precision really matters when you're building parts that have to fit perfectly into larger systems. My mindset was always the same. I didn't want to just know one job. I wanted to understand the whole motion, how everything connected from beginning to end. Because when you understand the whole system, you start seeing problems differently. At the same time, I also had gone back to school. I was studying electrical engineering and leadership. I was listening to leadership content as much as I could, learning about strengths, communication, and how culture affects performance. And slowly I realized something important. The environment I was in wasn't going to change overnight, but I could change myself. I could build my own path forward. So while I was still working there, I invested in my future, my path, studying, learning, preparing for my next chapter. Eventually, an opportunity came that aligned with where I wanted to go. And one day, a final moment that confirmed everything I already knew. I made the decision to walk away. When I walked out of that gate for the last time, I didn't feel angry. I felt relief. I felt the relief off my shoulders because I already started building something better. Looking back now, those 12 and a half years taught me something that was the most important leadership lessons of my life. Leadership isn't about watching people work. Leadership isn't about pressure or control. Leadership is about creating an atmosphere where people can succeed. And sometimes the hardest environments teach you exactly what kind of leader you want to become. For me, that journey is still continuing because growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens step by step, one lesson at a time. It's not the easy way up, it's the long way up.